Hi, my little angels. Come on in. Everybody come in. Come in. Everybody come in. You new people, come on. Come on in. We're happy to have you. And if you guys, the new people, like what you see, you can give it a thumbs up. You can share it. Comments are amazing. You can ask all the returning people. We all love comments. I love when you guys interact with each other. I love interacting with you. Okay? I like to know what you think. And definitely, please hit that subscribe button below. And my returning people, hi guys, I see you. I recognize you. Thank you for always coming back. And please keep those comments coming. I love what you have to say. I really do. And I love interacting with you, and it's just great. We are all just part of this great community. But could you guys do me a favor and just double check and make sure that you're still subscribed? Sometimes when our phones update, we lose subscriptions, okay? It happens to me all the time, and my phone just updated, and I had to go back in and make sure I was subscribed to all my favorites, okay? So, at long last, you guys, we're going to do our little wee talk on the 5 love languages. I'm a big believer in love languages, okay? We're not all the same. We didn't come from a cookie cutter factory. What makes one person feel really good may not make someone else feel really good. Now, I did take a class a long time ago in love languages, and I know for sure my love language is gifts. I love to give gifts. It's how I show my love. I like to receive them. I do. I also really like words of affirmation, which is probably why I like comments so much. My husband, for example, I know for sure his love language to get is acts of service, and to receive, he likes physical touch and words of affirmation. I know that for sure. Okay, but we're going to talk about more of these in depth. Not in depth. Sorry, this is basic information. But it is fascinating because, yeah, this makes it look like it's the relationship, which I think is how these started. But I use love languages for everyone I meet, whether it's coworkers, the public. If I'm dealing with the public, I try to figure them out as quick as I can. My daughter, for sure, she is a physical touch person. That's her love language. Also, your parents, it's a great way, especially you younger ones that are having difficulty right now with parents. It's hard for parents to let go. I'm going to tell you that point blank. If you can figure out their love language, you may be able to communicate with them a little better. Okay, we'll talk about that more because I'm going to try to give examples for each one. Okay, guys, so, oh, and friendship too. It's great for friendships. Okay, now, so this book is by Gary Chapman, and The Secret to Love That Lasts. That's the undertitle. I have made a lot of notes, so I've synopsized everything into my few notes, and I'm going to try to go over them with you. Okay, so you might want to have a pen and paper, or just do it later. Go through the whole video first and then rewind for the parts that you want to really focus on. So for what we're doing today, there are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 love languages. And these aren't in any particular order, okay? But there was a quotation from the book I wanted to read you. With the love languages, the number of ways to express love is limited only to your imagination, which I love, you know? I think it helps us so much to grow when we understand each other more. And we talk about that all the time, about communication and acknowledging each other's feelings. So, all right, love languages, and they're not in any order. They're words of affirmation. Okay, I'm going to just say what they all are, and then we'll go through each one. Acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Okay? Now, it's best to try to know what yours is as well as the person you're dealing with. It just helps us to understand. And they talk a lot about your love tank. And it's really hard. It's like a car. You can't get a car going if there's nothing in the tank. So you want to try to make sure your love tank is as full as possible. And to me, there's two tanks. Your ability to give and your ability to receive. Not all of us have the same amount in each tank. Some of us have real trouble with receiving love or believing that it's real, okay? And some of us have real trouble expressing. We feel it. We feel love. We just don't know how to show it. So, let's talk. Let's go on words of affirmation, right? And I think we've all figured out by now, words are important. Words matter. Words can make us feel great. Words can make us feel lousy, okay? So, what I want us to do with words of affirmation, they have to be sincere. You can't just walk up to somebody who, is obviously having a bad day, looks terrible, and go, wow, you look amazing today. That's not going to help. We'll get to what we could say in just a moment. Words of affirmation, it can be thank you. I mean, we should always show gratitude, but some people really need to hear thank you. I heard somebody once say about their spouse, man, they unload the dishwasher and I'm supposed to send a thank you card. Nope. They need to hear that. They need the affirmation. They need to show you that they did something for you. That's what they're asking for. They're not asking for kudos and medals, okay? They want to know that you saw they showed you their love, okay? Other ways it can be complimenting someone sincerely. Words of affirmation can also be things like, I'm trying to think. I had a perfect example, and of course now that I'm filming, it's gone. Notes inside lunch bags, a text throughout the day. Those are words of affirmation. Thinking about you. How's your day going? Now that does also, most of these love languages are not 5 separate circles, okay? They do tend to overlap with each other. I'll tell you why in a moment. Okay, so I want you to think, and maybe for a day, make a list of the nice things you say. What you consider a word of affirmation is. Make a list when you say them. Then on a separate list, make a list of what you hear. What makes you feel good. And you may be surprised to realize you went through a whole day and didn't say it. Doesn't mean you're not a nice person, doesn't mean you're not pleasant to be around. It's a language just like English, Spanish, French, the whole thing. We need to learn to use that language. And a lot of that comes with practice. Okay. Now, the biggest word of affirmation you can say to someone, I love you. And that's hard for a lot of people to say. My father had a really hard time saying it. By the end of his life, he could say it. But there were times, I remember being in the hospital, and oh my gosh, I must have been late 20s, and it was serious. I had a blood clot, and I was hooked up to all these different tubes and drains and all this stuff. And he grabbed my toe as he was leaving and goes, I love you, and walked out. I thought I was dying. That was hard for him. He did learn, because my mom was a definite word of affirmation person. She had a really hard time and a desperate need for approval and acknowledgement. So for her, it was incredibly important. And they actually figured it out when my dad left, that he left with nothing unsaid between them. So that was a good thing. Okay, another thing we can do for words of affirmation while we're learning to do this is give yourself a set number. Okay? Tell yourself, I have, oh, Candy, please. I have 5 times. Sorry, guys, I can hear someone going into the park. I have 5 things I want to say. Okay? It's like reaching our steps. Okay? You want to reach your goal. If 5 seems too much, do 3. Do what you can. Okay. Easiest way to do it is to be sincere. Make it a habit. All right? You want to be able to have this come naturally to you, and it may not at first. It can be a hard thing to do. So definitely, please, give yourself a set number and think of it just like steps. You know how everybody was counting their steps for so long? Okay, I'm going to say nice things. And a nice thing can be a thank you. Okay? Maybe you go to get a coffee and you don't mean anything because as far as you're concerned, this is just a transaction. It's something that drives me crazy. If I'm standing behind someone and they're like, give me a large double, and takes it and leaves. It's like, don't you mean, could I please get a large double? Thank you. You know, please and thank you can be words of affirmation too. Okay? So if it's not something you're used to doing in a transactional setting, try peppering it in now and again. Okay? All right. Now, quality time. Quality time does not mean you are joined at the hip with someone. Okay? It doesn't mean you have to spend X amount of time. It's not a mathematical formula. Okay? Quality time just means, and I know it's going to sound like new age language, but being present, being in the moment, you know, listening to the person, having them listen to you, that's quality time. Oops, sorry guys. And not every moment that you're with someone has to be quality time, but you should set aside a goal for having quality time with someone. And try not to force it, you know. Don't tell someone, come on, we have 15 minutes, we have to spend quality time together. Tell me about your day. Go. Really? I mean, if you have to start that way, I suppose it's a way to start. But your exercise, it's an exercise, okay? Think of love languages as a muscle. If you haven't used it in a while, you gotta exercise it, okay? And it may take a little bit to stretch to the flexibility you're used to, okay? Okay, another way to have quality time, you don't even have to be with the person. Include them in your day. This is where I was talking about things can overlap. Send them a text. How's your day going? Thinking about you. Remind me to tell you this funny story that Bill did. Or remind me to tell you about the great coffee Antonella and I found. Like things like that. It's a way of including the person in your day. It's quality time. You're telling them, my time is important and I want you involved in it. And the same goes if quality time is your love language and your partner's it's not. That's where you say, how's your day going? Anything special happen? I packed your lunch. Did you like it? Give them a chance to give it to you, like to give back some quality time to you. Okay? Try doing something that you may not enjoy, but they do. Okay? If your friend or your person or your child loves a certain TV show, but you don't, suck it up, buttercup. Okay? You're not putting your feelings aside. You are giving them a gift. You are giving them your quality time. You are saying they're more important than the television program. Okay? Invite them to watch yours. My daughter, a lot of times I'll say to her, do you want to help me make dinner? And if she says no, or she says, I'm reading, I said, well, why don't you come in the kitchen and just sit with me and keep me company? It's just a way to include her and let her know that I value her time, that I think it's important. Okay? And really, the last point I want to make on this one, focus on the person. Okay? Don't do it and say, I can mark off 10 minutes today. Focus on what the person's saying to you. Focus on what the person's feeling. Maybe quality time means no talking. Maybe the person just needs a comfortable silence. That can happen too. Those are very hard for me. Silence makes me uncomfortable. Okay. Now, gifts. This one is, I think, one of the most misunderstood love languages. I think people think it's mercenary. Oh, I have to buy your love? No. The gifts are a way of showing you're thinking of the person, that you took their needs and their wants and put them into action. Okay? For me, I love to give gifts. I love to find the perfect gift. The hunt for me is my love. Giving it to them is my way of giving that love to them. Okay? I absolutely love listening to people and filing away hints for things they want later. The long COVID doesn't help me with that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. And gifts do not have to cost a lot, okay? It can be something as simple as, honey, come here, come here, come here. Look at this sunset. Isn't it gorgeous? That's a gift. You're sharing a moment with them. It can also, see what I mean about overlap? That can overlap into quality time. You could be walking around and, oh my gosh, this beautiful rock. Okay, my husband knows I love my crystals and things. So if he happened to see like a geode out there somewhere, believe me, he would bring it home to me. That's a gift. Okay, nature has gifts they can give too. Not saying go into your neighbor's yard and pick the flowers. Okay, we used to do that as kids. My parents would get so mad at us. But that's a way to do it. Have a gift idea notebook. Just a small wee notebook that you carry with you. And when you think of something, you can have the person's name at the top and just write ideas. And then when it comes time that you do want to get them something, okay, here's a perfect example of gifts. A friend of ours always got flowers from her husband, always. And she kind of liked to lord it over me. And one day she said something out and out snotty about it. And I said, pardon me, I don't like flowers. Have you ever seen me garden? I said, I don't thank you for a gift that I have to throw away, okay? That I have to watch die and that I have to remember to take care of, okay? My husband, when I'm having a bad day, he stops at Tim Hortons and brings me home a coffee. I remember once having a horrible day. I had a fertility test done. It was incredibly painful. And I got the results that they were not good. He came home, and this was before Starbucks would let you say medium or large. He came home with a venti decaf gingerbread latte, no foam, no whip, no sugar for me. For him to order that, and for him to pay $5.51 at the time, huge gift. So instead of flowers, he brings me coffees or quenchers, you know. He knows he listened, okay? He learned that love language. If your love language is gifts, communicate your likes. Communicate your needs. I think the one time he brought me the coffee, because I know he needs words of affirmation. I'm like, I love when you do this. It's like way better than flowers. I am telling you, I switched on something that day with him. He understood me and I understood him. It worked for us, okay? So don't be afraid to communicate things like that. And if gift giving is hard for you, ask for help, okay? If your person is hard to buy for and you know someone who always gives the right gift, ask them what they think. Ask them how they know. Ask for opinions. You don't have to choose what they say, but maybe it starts your brain thinking, okay? Also, another gift you can give, and this was a big one for my husband, and so many people didn't get it, did not understand it. Charity. I'm 57. What do I need? You know? So one Christmas, he bought a goat for a country that needed it, for a village, and in my name. Okay, that meant more to me than anything. And I remember my mother-in-law kept saying, but he gave you something else, right? Like you got a real gift, right? I'm like, of course, of course. That's what I wanted. That meant more to me than anything, okay? Because he understood me. And that's all you have to do, is really listen and try to understand that person. And if gift giving isn't your love language, but it is theirs, that can be hard. That's where you have to pepper in some of your language. If you need to, okay, let's use the coffee as an example. You bring a coffee home to them, say, your gift, my dear. Let them know that you're thinking of them, and this is your way of giving. Okay? Okay. Physical touch. It's not sex. Okay? Well, I mean, I suppose it could be, but physical touch isn't about sex. It's about love. Okay? Because you can do physical touch to friends, to co-workers. Well, be careful of that. Your children, your parents, you know, your person. It can be easy things like holding their hands, patting their shoulders, coming up behind them when they're struggling with something and rubbing their back and going, is there anything I can help with? Physical touch like that, for someone who needs it, really, really makes them feel loved, okay? Especially if you're doing it in front of other people. It's a way of almost having them claimed, you know, look at me, this person loves me, okay? Holding them when they're upset, you know, patting their hand, giving it a squeeze. I remember telling you guys one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books where a teacher gave a girl's shoulder a squeeze and encouraged her and had no idea the horrible time she was going through, and it made such a difference. But it was such a natural thing for the teacher, because that was their love language. Okay. You can hug, kiss, massage, shoulder rubs, hand holding, rubbing someone's feet after a hard day. You know, that's a great thing to do. My husband loves, if my shoulders are bad, he loves to give them massage for me. It really hurts. I don't care for it, but he's an active service person, so that's fine. And I like when he, like I said, these circles overlap. I like physical touch too. Okay. So we did not go through all 5. I think I've skipped one. 1, 2, 3. Words of affirmation. Quality time. I did miss one. Acts of service. I knew I did. Acts of service is a great one, and it really overlaps with other things. And like I said, my husband Brad, he is very... Ooh. Anyways, Uncle Angel's name is Brad. He shows love that way. He is a caregiver. He has always been that way. He likes nothing more than helping people. If you are an older person and we're at a mall, if he is 2 miles away from the door, he will run to get that door for you and hold it open for you. It is his way of showing kindness, caring, his heart, okay? And you can serve someone without being a doormat, okay? Acts of service has nothing to do with being someone's servant, okay? Acts of service is that person's way of showing you. And if you're not a person whose act of service is your love language, it can be really hard to understand. My husband, because Brad loves acts of service and recognizes them, I make sure every day I make the coffee for the next day, because he's up before me and all he has to do is turn it on when he walks the dog. So that when he comes back to the house, there's a nice hot pot of coffee waiting for him. That is my act of service to him, Not because I'd rather give him a gift. I'd rather give him a new coffee mug. He has lots of those now. But that matters to him. And once you understand what that person needs from you, you're filling their tank. Okay? And that's what love language is about, filling each other's tank up. You can fill your own too, you know? If act of service is your love language and you want to show yourself some love, give yourself a facial. Take a couple minutes to meditate, to do some deep breathing. Okay, that's an act of service for yourself. You can even communicate with your partner or your person and say, give me a list this month of things you'd like me to do for you. I read a book a long time ago, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, or the other way around, I can never remember. And I remember one thing it said in it, that sometimes men will go into their cave when they're worried about something or thinking, and as much as you want to drag them out into the sunshine, you can't push them to come out before they're ready. That was me and my husband, and that caused so much conflict. You know, I'm like, talk it out, we can work this out, you know, tell me what's bothering. No, now I wait. Another thing that book said is put parameters, and this works for my daughter very well. Honey, take out the garbage before dinner, please. I've now given her a parameter. I no longer say, take the garbage out now. Take the garbage out by 4 o'clock. Walk the dog by 3:30. I give that, and she has the choice of when she does it, as long as it's done by that time. Acts of service with parameters like that, they're great. Another way to do that is to ask nicely, you know. Instead of saying, you need to mow the grass before your parents come over on Saturday, you can leave a little note. And this isn't tricking someone or anything. It's like, just wanted you to know how much I adore how you make the house look so good outside. And I'm thanking you in advance for mowing the lawn before your parents come over, which I know you're going to do. Thank you so much. You're not asking the person, you're just telling them how you feel and what you think. And they know. They already have the affirmation. See, they do overlap. They really do overlap. And show your appreciation. Thank you. Okay? When people give you an act of service, thank them. It's their acknowledgement that you see their love, that you know they're trying as hard as they can. They may not be able to say it to you. They may not be able to give it to you in the language you want, but you know they're doing the best they can. So guys, there we go. I have finally done the love language video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. If you guys know what your love language is, I'd love to know what they are. And like I said, it's not always just one. They do overlap, okay? So as always, I love you. I value you. I honor you. And I'm so, so very glad that you were born.